जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. When he has prompted us to take up an in-depth study of In Quest of God during the Sannyas centenary year, it is not merely to concentrate on the text, but it is mainly to concentrate on our sadhana. And we are revisiting the text with an objective, with an ideal, with the aim of refining or adding or modifying our way of approach. This should not be lost sight. Many a time he is very blunt. The purpose is to make us aware of the seriousness. Unknowingly, we were taking something lightly which we should not have. Initially, okay, but later on, we were all supposed to find out why we have been attracted, why we have been drawn by him. Because this is an ashram where no tradition is there. No tradition is adopted here. That means we should be absolutely feel like child. We can approach Papa, we can approach Mataji, we can approach Swamiji. Now that they are no more in body, we can approach them through our thoughts. There is no protocol, there is no previous appointment, there is no intermediary. So what is needed is to constantly get in touch with them internally. And when we try to adopt this method, we will also find a new line of approach to our spiritual journey. So through so many of his teachings, he is trying to bring home this. The centenary year, because we all know that but for this 27th December 1922, what had happened on that day, we will not be sitting here now, from the Vyavaharik angle. God's plan is perfect, foolproof. He wanted us to come here and he wanted us a place, and therefore he wanted one individual to transform himself. Who will be the main source of drawing people to this line of thought? That is God's plan. From the Vyavaharik angle, if Vittal Rao has not taken this bold step of taking the lead, leaving everything which he previously was identifying with, we would not, the Anandashram would not have come into being. So for us, viewing it from the Vyavaharic angle, viewing it from the spiritual angle, we are highly indebted to him. And we pray to him, let us take the maximum benefit of it. Because we don't, ashram does not follow any big celebrations like that. Here a deep, in-depth study. In-depth study is what is called for. And so from January onward, we will try till December next. Going through each chapter, each one will go through the chapter and then leave the text. What is it that will help me to move towards him? With that perspective, we will start. So he has been now bringing out his teachings or articles in such a form. That is why yesterday we found Sikaran saying, today he talks about who is a sadhaka. The life of a sadhaka on the Godward path in a world full of temptation is not an easy one. Many souls who were seized with a sincere and earnest aspiration for God have been lured away from the quest by the desire for wealth, fame, power, and sex. Absolute purity of thought, word, and deed is the only condition for realizing the truth, which is so stupendous and sublime. So long as the mind of a sadhaka still lays its hold upon material things, so long as its roots are still firmly fixed in worldliness, so long as it depends for satisfaction on external contacts, he ought to keep a strict sentinel over his thoughts and actions and should take the utmost precaution not to serve from the path. That is the transitory stage, the transition from a person to a sadhaka. Papa clearly wants us. He is in the midst of so many things. So he should post himself as a sentinel, warning us at every time. No, that is your limit, don't go beyond that. This should be always coming in our, welling up in our mind. He ought to keep a strict sentinel over his thoughts and actions and should be utmost precaution not to serve from the path. He cannot trifle with the will of God by saying that whatever he does is by that will. When I am doing everything by my will, that means I plan, I don't bring God into the picture, and when somebody asks, I say it's all God's will. No. It is not a true statement. It is the sense of individuality that owns it and does it. We suddenly hear that the spiritual preceptor says everything happens only by God's will. Immediately the mind says, this is also God's will, but we should feel it, no. That is important. So long as we don't feel that it is His will, it is our will only. Distorted. That means we have not handed over. The other one is, somebody says, and we believe that word, but we have not realized, we have not handed over. Surrender is a state of consciousness. It is not a mere verbal assertion or even a mental acceptance. When we say it is His will, that means we have surrendered up to Him. And we feel the very word of surrender, it is at the lip level. Because here it clearly says, surrender is a state of consciousness. That it is He who is within me, is making me to say, making me to think, making me to do. It's a state of experience, it's a state of consciousness. It is not a mere verbal assertion or even a mental acceptance. Not even a mental acceptance. It should be an experience. To rise above all human weaknesses that seek to keep the soul tied down to its lower nature, the course is to dwell continuously in the divine through remembrance and meditation. Even while we are engaged in various types of activities, somewhere in the corner of the mind, this should be there. To keep it in the corner of the mind, we have to adopt some discipline, some regularity, some goals. Otherwise, we will not give room for this. The first and foremost quality that manifests in a sadhaka who aspires to be a true servant of God is simplicity. Simplicity in his ways, conduct, mode of life. He is a tyagi, not by any rule or imitation, but his life cannot but be imbued with a spirit of renunciation when it is utterly dedicated to the divine. Simplicity. A happy-go-lucky life in which there is a glamour for worldly things, attraction for the ephemeral tinsels and vanities of life, cannot be a passport to the realm of the infinite. Today also he is very blunt. A happy-go-lucky life in which there is a glamour for worldly things, attraction for the ephemeral tinsels and vanities of life, cannot be a passport to the realm of the infinite. It is a life of total self-sacrifice wherein service of God in humanity is both the means and the end. The glorious examples of saints and sages are before us, how they gave up everything for making God their own, how they laid all that they called their own at His feet. Such a surrender takes the soul to the highest spiritual eminence, making him feel one with God, who is the absolute reality, immanent in all beings and creatures. If a sadhaka is tremendously determined to achieve divine love, peace and bliss, his self or ego must go. And all that is done for it must also go. There is no compromise between truth and untruth, between light and darkness. The heart must be pointing always to truth and light, leaving behind untruth and darkness. Make-believe and dilly-dallying devotion is delusive and deceptive. Therefore, O sadhaka, turn to God with all the force of your being. Let His light flood your heart, make you a radiant vehicle for the revealment of His eternal attributes of love and joy. That is how he closes this article. Clearly he defines who is a sadhaka. That means the goal should be very clear to us. And we should be earnest in our, no matter, whatever may be the insufficiency, whatever may be the inadequacy, whatever may be that factor which is lacking, it's all right. But still we should be very clear. If I want to claim myself as Papa's devotees, I must try to go through his teachings and make an earnest effort to live up to it. So today he highlights that the first and foremost thing needed for such an approach to God is simplicity. Simplicity and self-effacement. The me and mine. As he has made it clear, me and my, the removal or the transcending the me and mind does not need any change of our outer fields. Only our inner attitude towards objects, towards individual, towards situations, it is that matters. Me and mine means we need not think that we have to leave everything and go. No. He has made it amply clear. Whether at home or in the office or with the friends, whenever we deal with any of them, we try to keep this dimension being. Initially, we may not have this dimension. But if we go back in our own life, we will find He will make us to get in touch with some individuals who lead such a value-based life. Though they may not be professing, but their life itself is a testimony of expansion from the individual to the universal. And at that time we have no idea about spirituality or spiritual journey or spiritual progress. But later on, when God makes us to get in touch with a spiritual preceptor, suddenly he says that God is within and he is expressing himself in the form of goodness, in the form of love, in the form of joy, in the form of seva, in the form of compassion, in the form of sacrifice, in the form of reconciling with every situation, acceptance, surrender, all these things the spiritual preceptor says, and then we try to connect up. It is not merely a dictum or a dogma given by the spiritual preceptor. Before that, God has already made us to get in touch with such people without our knowing anything like this. And he would have made us to go through ups and downs. Normally when we say ups and downs in the Vyavaharic angle. And at that time we did not know. But later on we come to know that there was a blessing given by him. Otherwise we would have become one with the usual run of life where we do not bring in this dimension at all in our life. So a sadhaka is already there in the making. It is not that we are becoming a sadhaka one fine morning just because, no. We are all sadhakas, no doubt about it. The seriousness would not have come to us. Or we may not be able to get over the temptations in which we live. But somewhere in the corner of our mind, that is why we are all sitting and hearing these. Now Papa wants us to make us know that if you want to still progress, if you want to progress further, please know that you have to appoint yourself as a sentinel before your, various thoughts that parade before you, and put strictures on do's and don'ts, and check up whether your lead is, whether you have simple habits in life, whether there is a tendency to protect yourself, or whether there is a tendency to acknowledge everything as a gift of God. Today he is making us to go through all these things intensely. And one more thing that came up just before we were coming for this satsang. Many of the hearers are old people. So will there be any purpose served? Yes. Because this life, according to what we have been taught by our spirit masters, it's a continuation. Whatever is possible for this life, we will assimilate. We will try to adopt. We will try to contemplate upon, focus upon, get it fixed in our mind. Maybe we may not be able to fully translate this into our very life because of various factors. But this will not go in vain. This samskara will be only an added asset to us. Just like in the common parlance, when we invest a capital, it is not that we will start getting the income straight. It will gradually only come. Similarly, we will keep on investing our thoughts on these. Let us not think that the age is what to come. We are all, normally we used to say in a lighter vein, we are all squeezed oranges, There is no pulp inside. It is true, we are all squeezed oranges in one sense, but in another sense, never are we squeezed oranges, because this life is a continuum, his life does not stop with the dropping of the body. As Vinobaji used to say, whatever good samskaras we carry, that is the provision for our next travel, from this body to the next body. So in our journey, this will not go in vain. So let us not feel what is the use of hearing it, what is the use of contemplating, what is the use of chanting at this age. It will certainly add. We don't know whether the enlightenment can come before dropping the body or after dropping the body. But enlightenment is sure to come. Why? Because he is there in us. It can't be otherwise. He may have his own reason to put some obstacles to make us perfectly pure. Because we were seriously thinking, when we look at the various figures, then Papa answers from within. None of us have to belittle the importance of the spiritual sadhana. So till the last moment he makes us to live. Till that, we will keep on adding and adding our efforts to maintain his constant remembrance. We pray, we plead, we use any methods to invoke his blessings. Invoke his blessing means to feel his presence. You have been with us, you are with us, make us aware of it, please. I was not knowing that you have been with us. Now I am 100% sure you have been with us, and therefore you are with us. The only thing is, we are not aware of it. So somehow please enable us to do it. So even we have got clarity in the whole methodology. The journey which Papa made us to go through makes it clear. Yes, he has been with us. When he has been with us, he is with us now. He is with us now as the life force, as the consciousness, as the intelligence. And not only he is there in the abstract form, but also in the tangible form, in the form of manifestation, including our sense of individuality. Because our origin also goes to him only. We have come from him. The original seed is he only. So we are all sadhakas, no doubt, but we are not even aware that we are sadhakas. To know that we are sadhakas, he has given us all these clues. So once again we will read it so that it becomes more and more clearer and clearer. The life of a sadhaka on the Godward path in a world full of temptation is not an easy one. Many souls who were seized with a sincere and earnest aspiration for God have been lured away from the quest by the desire for wealth, fame, power, and sex. Absolute purity in thought, word, and deed is the only condition for realizing the truth which is so stupendous and sublime. So long as the mind of a sadhaka still lays its hold upon material things, so long as its roots are still firmly fixed in worldliness, so long as it depends for satisfaction on external contacts, he ought to keep a strict sentinel over his thoughts and actions and should take the utmost precaution not to serve from the path. He cannot trifle with the will of God by saying that whatever he does is by that will. Surrender is a state of consciousness. It is not a mere verbal assertion, nor even a mental assertion, mental acceptance. To rise above all human weaknesses that seek to keep the soul tied down to its lower nature, the course is to dwell continuously in the divine through remembrance and meditation. The first and foremost quality that manifests in a sadhaka who aspires to be a true servant of God is simplicity. Simplicity in his ways, conduct, and mode of life. He is a tyagi, not by any rule or imitation, but his life cannot but be imbued with a spirit of renunciation when it is utterly dedicated to the divine. A happy-go-lucky life in which there is a glamour for worldly things, attraction for the ephemeral tinsels and vanities of life, cannot be a passport to the realm of the infinite. It is a life of total self-sacrifice, wherein service of God and humanity is both the means and the end. The glorious examples of saints and sages are before us, how they gave up everything for making God their own, how they laid all that they called their own at his feet, Such a surrender takes the soul to the highest spiritual eminence, making him feel one with God, who is the absolute reality, immanent in all beings and creatures. If a sadhaka is tremendously determined to achieve divine love, peace and bliss, his self or ego is very important, must go, and all that is done for the self, for it also must go. There is no compromise between truth and untruth, between light and darkness. The heart must be pointing always to truth and light, leaving behind untruth and darkness. Make-believe and dilly-dallying devotion is delusive and deceptive. Therefore, O sadhaka, turn to God with all the forces of your being. Let His light flood your heart and make you a radiant vehicle for the revealment of His eternal attributes of love and joy. And in quest of God, when we again read with this background, we will see all these things. Self-effacement, simplicity, surrender, always joyous, always positive, optimistic, acceptance of all situations, free from complaints and grumbling, free from wants, zero wants, not even say barest minimum, zero. So when we are motivated to move in those direction, an in-depth study of the inquest of God really helps, because it is connected with the day-to-day happenings, not at all philosophy, not even like this article. Abstract things are brought, okay. There it is connected with the anecdotes, simple anecdotes, and how he brings all these factors or values or points in such a sahaj way, natural way. Suddenly we think, oh, it is possible. So probably he is preparing us for this in-depth study through these articles every day. He is prompting us to dwell upon these articles on the various aspects of sadhana. Because he said, no dilly-dallying. We have to approach it with all seriousness. That is why he prompted us to say in-depth study, not a superficial study, not a superficial reading, not a superficial activity labeled under this sannyas saptaka. Sannyas centenary. It's a serious study. We now have some idea that what all inquest of God contains. And you will all be knowing that even today, without publicizing anything, still that book attracts a lot of sadhakas. Mysteriously. We don't know how somebody goes to, probably they would have visited our website, especially friends abroad, even in India, yes. And first they say in quest of God. So there is a brief mention about the contents of each book here. Totally, we have about 40, 45 obligations. Mainly, of course, papas. In quest of God, at the feet of God, in the vision of God, world is God. Then somebody was kind enough to jot down the satsang, God experience 1 and 2. Pujya Swamiji was motivated to jot down something during a brief period. It came out in the form of gospel. It also came out, some of his lectures, somebody was kind enough to bring it out in the form of Ramdas talks. And when he went to global tour, Pujya Swamiji was prompted to make notes and bring it out in 5 volumes, lectures of Swami Ramdas. Then God of the devotee. Again, it may look to be a travelogue.
Small Buddha speaks.
Then somebody was kind enough to compile his letters, letters of Swami Ramdas 1 and 2. Then from there again extracted the essence of it, coming under the form of the speaks, glimpses, sayings. So mostly it is papas only.
Pathless path.
Pathless path. But of all these books, the one which gives the first, first entry, the password to his teaching is in quest of God. So without telling that, we have been contacted by many, many friends, even today, even in these times. Actually, one day when somebody was asking what are we going to do for the centenary, Sannyas centenary, suddenly the prompting he gave us was at least 1,000 people should get in quest of God. New people. Because that might pave the way for them to know about all these salient features gradually. They are not in the initial stage. So then now by His grace, when He gave us the prompting, and then one, we must have now nearly touched more than 2,000 people in different languages. So there also He shows. So now what is needed is an in-depth study. That should not be forgotten. That is why He is giving us so many clues, hints, probably in a blunt way, urging the need for concentrating on the aspects highlighted by Him. So yesterday and today we find, and tomorrow let us see what is in store for us. And from 24th onwards, today is 21st, 22nd and 23rd we will have this 5 o'clock. And from 24th onwards we will have this satsang between 4 to 5. 24th we are going to have Akhanda Ramnam also from morning 6 o'clock, all subject to His will. And this is the broad plan He has given us to us. So 24th, 25th, 26th, we will have Akhanda Ramnam if possible. On 27th December, the Sannyas Centenary program will be officially launched by Param Pujya Swami Padmanabhan Swamiji Maharaj of Divine Life Society. So during these 25, he is reaching here on 25th. Probably we might request him also to share some thoughts on before that also. And we will have bhajans, so many things during the satsang, there will be talks. 27th morning, 9 or 9:30, we are still working out the details. We will share it with you before, day after tomorrow. On 27th morning session will be the launching, and evening there will be also satsang as usual, and this satsang program will continue till 31st. And 31st night as usual we used to have Ramnam, saying goodbye to the 2021 and also entering into 2022 with a mental resolve to hold on to the name more seriously for enabling us to take up the in-depth study.
And this 24th satsang will be held here or in local?
From 24th onwards it will be held in Panchavati. We will find out how it can be
They have it as
telecast.
usual on the portico of
That we have not yet decided. There are so many points that are yet to be cleared because it is social distancing and all those things are there. But we will see how it shapes. Probably by 24th we will get some more idea. 24th and 25th the devotees will be start coming. And then let us see how it goes. Anyway, up to 27, 28 the tempo will be there. Afterwards also it will be there. People will be there till second or first or second. So we will have the program. And after that, from January onwards, what is now provisionally fixed is that every week we will have some sharing of in quest of God, sharing of some points that are lying latent, hidden, every week. Then we may not be having this daily satsang. So what is needed is to go intensely every week. Every week on Sunday, timing will be announced. It will not be more than 10 or 15 minutes. Enough food for our thought, for enabling us to go deep with it. So that every week we prepare for the next. If we don't prepare, we may not be able to eke out the benefit of it. So our request will be that from January onwards, the chapter which we focus upon should be read by us as many times as possible, 1 or 2, 3 or chapter, that's all. One chapter each, will be taken on every week. What are the points? So we will be able to intensely go, and whatever that comes out, so then we have to bring out in our own. And whenever a new dimension comes, devotees can easily send us to email, which will also be shared by everybody. Shared with them, all our devotees. So that it's a collective sadhana. It is not that somebody telling from ashram and somebody hearing from the outside the ashram. It will be a collective sadhana, a collective study, and we will see how it goes from month to month, or week to week, and then month to month, and finally when we reach November, December, we would have cleared and we would have got a clear picture about our own spiritual progress or the journey in which we are now. So let us all prepare ourselves. The next 2-3 days, we will prepare ourselves fully for that. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram श्री राम जय राम। हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम।